mi kapot que malavante. Back, keep me up in the end, and 20 guys know. It's like anybody get at the end of that day,
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 322 of The Inside Line. We're going to be checking out all kinds of stuff. It's Scuff Depot. I'm Drift Johnson. Welcome, everyone. Sunday night, the 22nd of March. It has just gone 8 o'clock. I welcome everybody if you're watching live or later. Hello, Rocco. Hello, Stuff to the Brim. Welcome, both of you. And everybody else who eventually shows up or, as I say, is watching later from all over the world. So, I know we're kind of like running on a low profile right now, but I've been busy. I keep going. I've been putting out a whole bunch of cool tools. I'm going to show you exactly how we apply some of them tonight as well. I've got a new game which is almost ready to started it yesterday. It's almost finished, but it pulls together a lot of stuff which I've given away. The modular design thing is really working when you start flying with tins. So hello everyone, let's take a look at some of those comments. What you got here? Have you checked out Grok's video model called Aurora? No, but we are going to be taking a big photo. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of the stuff I've been working on has been like image tools. So the logical next step is to start working on more video tools. And there are actually a couple of them. We're going to be taking a look at them in the quick rundown. Oh, dip, take a sip, says Stuff. And Rocco says hi. So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining. Like I said, I made something called Adam Offline, which is obviously a riff on EVE Online, being a single-player version built entirely with the Zero system. Zero family, guys. Zero skill. That's what it is. The Zero AI skill. A family of procedural deterministic love. Straight from me, through GitHub, direct to your computer. And like I said, it pretty much enhances everything. We've managed to do all kinds of stuff with it. And I'm going to show you one obvious implementation of that. But first things first, let's get started. So welcome everybody to the show. Thanks for tuning in. We're here every week at Sunday at 8 o'clock UK time, which is now. And that's the intro. So hopefully my head didn't explode. Right. Let's get back to the start. I'm going to do a quick rundown of everything that we released in the Inside Line in the last 7 days. I'm not going to take forever over it because really I want to lean into, you know, more interesting things tonight. So, these are all interesting things though. Anyway, so we have Grok Replacer, which now has Mac support. You will need to do a little trick. I'm just going to cover that now nice and early. Oh wait, it's not in this one. Okay, I need to add the instructions here. There's a little trick, XATTR command line, which you can run to unlock it. And you see, I have to pay monies for a developer account, but until then, you know, they're pre-release alphas. So, but what is Grok Replacer? I'm glad you asked. It uses a traditional automatic 1111 technique of cropping an image, editing only the image, and then resizing the output back in with various color match and edge blending techniques. Essentially, if you are lucky, it doesn't change the image too much and you can just change stuff. Rocco says video quality is excellent, image is good, upload multiple images and each one is treated like Aurora right away. So Aurora, interesting. Maybe we'll have to look into their API for potential providers. Because what I've done is I've built a bunch of desktop apps which will essentially work as a harness for image and video generation. Anyway, we'll get to that. So Gemini Key, a lot of the stuff we're going to be looking at tonight, you go to Google AI Studio. For Banana Pro, you'll need a tier 1 key, which is paid. But for Banana 2, they're being quite generous. You don't need a tier 1 key for that. So you can actually use a lot of these tools for free on your desktop today. Okay. So what does Grok Replacer do? It crops a box, opens an edit modal for Nano Banana 2. You put your prompt in, choose 4K, change the wall, replace the brick, whatever it is. And so it just does that little bit you want to change and then patches it back. Now I will say it's a bit hit and miss because sometimes the color match and the blend, you know, you can see the edge. But when you get lucky, this actually works really well. So it's a cool little feature. And we've actually made this better already, by the way. It's funny. See, I come up with the idea, build the prototype, make it all work. It works. That's great. Cool. And yeah, we move on. Claude Sniffer skill. So in a bit of a side quest, we did a skill which is called the Claude Sniffer skill, it interrogates your own workflow history. So if you use Claude Desktop or if you use Claude Code, you're going to have a history on your computer in the Claude folder that you probably didn't even know about. So what this skill does is it allows you to turn that into actionable skills. So he's going to give you a ranked list of 10 skill candidates which you can review and use the built-in official skill creator. I'm not making a new one. You just use the built-in skill creator. It's actually amazing. If you ever get bored, open up the Claude Code folder, look for the skill creator and see what they actually did. It's very impressive. That's all I'll say. Because I went to improve it and found it had all of the things I wanted to add already. And I was like gobsmacked, I've got to admit. Hello, Dominic. Welcome to the show. Are you over in Dubai today? I hope the weather's nice. So, instead of authoring skills from abstract intention, they emerge organically from observed practice. So essentially what it does is, he's going to look at all your history, and he's going to look for stuff that you're always doing, and then identify the top, the most frequently repeated actions, and make you custom skills just for you, for the stuff that you're doing all the time. And you might find this is very valuable, right? So this is like the beginnings of an auto skill creation system, but it's based on you, right? So it's not just coming out of nothing, yeah? So that's number one. The sniffer, all right? And this is how it works. I won't go into it. It's pretty obvious, You pretty much just say, hey, where is it? Sniff my plans. Use the code sniffer. What tasks am I repeating? Find repeated workflows in my Claude data. Okay? It's very cool. Okay, I'll probably release the best ones that I get out of my histories as well, guys, just to prove it's working. Okay, so again, Crop Replacer has Mac support now. DJZ Data Mosh, my popular comfy nodes for data moshing. So, it's a sequence of images, video in, video out. It'll do glitch data mosh effects. There's 8 of them. One of them uses masking, and it uses the ModNet. So it's all local. Again, download the MSI and off you go. I released the plan, so if you want to actually make your own version of this, all you'll need to do is get my DataMosh nodes out of my Comfy DJZ nodes. He called me earlier, had an idea about holographic memory outside of CAG in Evolving LoRa. Whoa, that sounds like a tasty challenge. We'll have to talk more about that, Dom. I do like the sounds of that. That sounds like 3 things I'm really interested in. I never even thought of it. Evolving LoRa's. Okay, we'll have to have a chat, but I'm gonna write that down. Oh, all I have. When you need to write something down and you can't find a pen? That's why they invented Notepad. Hollow CAG Evolving LoRa. That's a cool idea. Anyway, back to the show. A worthy distraction, sir. So yeah, as I say, you've got the 8 effects which you get in the Comfy Node DJZ nodes collection. So they're all there. The only thing is, it does the whole thing. So I would advise only uploading the clip you want to apply the effect to if you're not looking to apply it to the whole thing. That's the only thing I would say. And we might add more modes, like more masked modes. But for now, this is just a straight conversion of what we already had in Comfy UI into an app. So it's video to video, glitch effects. All right. There we go. Next. Banana outpainting. So as you can see, I was on a bit of a app spree for the old local banana tools, okay? And in the end, I unified them all into one app. But the point is, there's actually a plan for each one here, so you can rebuild it yourself. But the banana outpaint is basically banana, but outpainting, right? So essentially, I've given you a cool interface, which is like a canvas, which is the size of the output, and then you can scale the input size, which is obviously the thing you're loading, and then by dragging that around and changing the size, it's easy to say replace the white space by extending the image, which is nice and easy for banana. So it's a very simple process, really. It's a bit hit and miss because obviously outpainting is outpainting. But yeah, it does a pretty good job, actually. So like I said, serviceable. So we released that one, and I believe there is a Mac release. Oh, I forgot to upload it. That's my bad. Moving on. Neural Echo. So another side quest. This is quite a fun one. So this skill, the Neural Echo skill, it says, is that just from a movie? It's a Claude skill for detecting when fears, theories and beliefs are echoes of fiction rather than independently reasoned conclusions. So basically, when fiction is powerful enough, it hits during formative years and triggers a strong emotion, and when it's revisited, it leaves an engram that's functionally indistinguishable from real memory. Over time, the label decays and the shape remains. So, imagination, memory and dreaming are all linked. We have a zone of collapse and resonance. So what we're basically doing is we're taking a theory or a conspiracy or a whatever, an article, and we just run it through this. So it's an epistemic sovereignty tool, not for debunking. Okay? It's not to mock or dismiss. It's to figure out, where did that actually come from? Because a lot of the time it just came from a movie that you saw when you were a kid, which is nothing wrong with that. It's a bit like in Ghostbusters when he says, oh, bring out the avatar of true evil or something, and one of them thinks of the Marshmallow Man. Yeah? And so they get a giant Marshmallow Man. And it's funny, but it does make sense in the story. So this is kind of like that kind of thing. He was thinking about a campfire story or something. Anyway, the point is, here's the Terminator case. So I genuinely believe that once AI reaches a certain level of intelligence, it will immediately identify humans as a threat and act to eliminate or control us. This feels obvious to me, almost like common sense. Is this a neural echo? And it's going to go ahead and tell me about Terminator, Terminator 2, The Matrix, Space 2001 Space Odyssey, Colossus the Forbin Project, Ex Machina, various sequels, Westworld, Eagle Eye, Avengers. So you could say that it's a strong idea that exists in culture that's been imbued in our environment for a whole life. So it's like you're going to be predisposed to come to that conclusion. Propel says, are we both going to sell our kidneys? Wait, what? Rocco says, I require access to XI's aura. Who's willing to collaborate on obtaining it? 2 clusters should suffice. Maybe 200 JPUs, he says, Rocco. That's brave. So, let's see. So the echo strength is high. Okay? But this is just an example run, right? Obviously, this could come up with any kind of answer for any kind of idea. Is this just from a movie? So, I call it the Neural Echo skill. Just a bit of fun, really. So then, we move on to DJZ Brushed Layer. And DJZ Brushed Layer is a little bit different because it's a new idea that actually came as a result of that animation tool that we made about a week or two ago. The idea of unpainting or painting back in a masked layer that was generated is essentially what the idea is. So when you upload your image, that becomes the parent layer that's never modified. When you describe the edit you want, make the sky sunset orange or add snow to the ground, when the image comes back, it returns a fully edited map version but scaled to match the original pixel for pixel. You can imagine this like an acetate overlay. But then what we do is we actually hide it behind a mask, okay? So it's completely invisible. You have a side-by-side interface, and the mouse shows where the mouse is, so you know what it is that you're about to reveal over. So you have the original image underneath, and you like scratch and sniff to reveal the bits you want to change. And what that does is it actually fixes the degradation that happens with all edit models, where what you're not changing gets worse every time. So in this way, you only paint in that little bit you wanted to change, and nothing else changes. So that was the big advantage of this. It was a proof of concept. It works great. And again, it comes with a plan. So that means you can just pull that into anything. You can just pull it in. Now, I actually call this unpaint mode, and I put it after every generation. So any generation can actually have this work, because all you need to do is pair the input image with the output image, and then retrospectively anything can be unpainted. So essentially, you know, man, it gives a lot more precision anyway, because you literally get to keep only what you want. So, and it doesn't touch anything else. It's a non-destructive method, but it works on the return, so it's a little bit different. And obviously it doesn't apply to, well, you have to paint it back in, so we're putting the art back in control of the artist here. Because obviously through progressive multiple layerings, it's possible to make all kinds of crazy stuff that you just couldn't have made with AI before. But anyway, it's got synchronized zoom for convenience. It has a little gallery in it, so it's a fully functional standalone app. I believe this one is in Mac. Anyway, next what I did was I've combined them all. Into Banana Tool. So Banana Tool comes as an MSI or a DMG Mac installer. You'll have to do the hack. Did I put the thing in here? Here it is. So Xattrib, it's attributes, Xattrib -CR, and then the path applications is usually where Mac apps go, and then the name of the app should be banana-tool.app. Is case sensitive. This is a workaround because I'm not a registered Mac developer yet. I've literally only had a Mac for like a week. So give me a minute. I gotta fill out the forms. But yeah, the point is the app's available and you do this to bypass the fact that it wasn't written on your computer. That's all. And yeah, you add a key and it gives you all the features. So like I said, what I've done now, this is another little thing. Using Opus 4.6 Max with 1 million context, I took 4 complete apps: my edit app, my InPaint app, my OutPaint app, and the Crop Replace app. And then I gave it the plan for the layer tool, you know, the Unpaint, right? Because it wasn't even an app yet, I hadn't built it. And what I did was I said, we can write a unified app that combines all of these apps into one app. Okay? So it's like, oh, you've got 4 tools you use all the time. You can just get Opus to convert them into one for you and then rebuild it, and it's fine. It's kind of fun. So we're... And just to continue with that, I had 21 websites on Lovable. I have a single plan which downloaded all 21 GitHubs, built all of the installed them all, built them all, changed them so they're not Lovable anymore, changed all the code so that now they run on local, and then built them for web, and then changed the base path to the name of the folder so it matches the subdomain it's going to be hosted on. And that's a very complex job that would have taken an engineer an hour, probably like an hour for each one, and he did it in 2 hours as one prompt. So, you know, because people are like, oh, how are you going to test this new... Okay, how about we do 21 at once? How about we take 4 apps and make them into one app? This is the sort of thing I'm doing to test its context limit. And so far, he hasn't missed a beat. So, yeah. So anyway, what does Banana Tool do? It's a local MSI installation and DMG installation for Mac. You add your key. It will work in free mode with limits, but if you have a paid key, obviously you can use it more, and it has access to Banana Pro. It does edit, replace, InPaint, and OutPaint. OutPaint doesn't do Unpaint because the canvas gets bigger, but every other mode can do Unpaint, and you can do it retrospectively. So if you just do an edit and you don't check the Unpaint box, doesn't matter, you can do that later. So that's based on the brush layer app. So yeah, you install that and off it goes. Let's see, what do we got? We got single, InPaint, removes or replaced, and multi, blends content from a second reference image. So that would be if you wanted to put a specific thing into the place you'll want it in Paint. But it's all done with structured prompts, so I think it's more of a hint. He does listen to the mask, but Gemini can be a bit slippery like that. This is why we ended up going with replace, and the problem was sometimes the color, you would get like corners. It would help to add in the prompt, preserve the background, do not change the, composition, only change, you know what I mean? It helps to do stuff like that. But if I'm being honest, you still get discoloration and, you know, corner problems. So I thought, okay. So that's why we've ended up coming back with the unpaint, because that means you paint in the changes. There are no discolored corners because you didn't include them, did you? And you can blend it in as well. So I'm thinking about adding fill to it though. You know, like in Photoshop you have opacity and you have fill as well. So then you could like really do extremely precise. You probably get the tablet out and start painting it in with a stylus or something. Anyway, so everyone knows what edit is, everyone knows what outpaint is. We have the unified gallery, which shows you where it came from. So it's pretty much, like I say, it's a standalone edit app. Cool. Moving on. Vid Replacer. So it's another MSI app, this time for video. So building on what we built with the image suite, we're going to now see what we can do with WebM and PNG frame sequences. So what Vid Replace does is it adds video effects to a selected region of a video. So essentially, let's see. Dom says, which Mac did you get? I purchased Neo today and I tried sticking Comfy UI on it. Oh wow. Yeah, I saw that actually, the new Neo. It looks very cool. I got an M4 MacBook Air 2025 edition, 16 gigabytes of unified memory. So I'm very happy with it. It's not fast or anything, but it's definitely more capable than the Windows machine I bought for about the same price a couple of years ago. So yeah, because like for that money you won't even get 6 gigabytes of VRAM. So you can get 16 unified on the Mac. It's a no-brainer. You know, if you want to get anywhere north of 8 gigabytes of VRAM on the laptop, you're looking at $2.5 grand. And when you're talking about spending 2.5 on a laptop, you may as well push out to 3 and get something decent. Like you can actually get 64 gig unified. You get a really good Mac for that. So it's sort of like, I don't know what they're doing. We've been talking about it in the community lately. I reckon they're going to ditch DDR, like the standard DIMMs, and they're going to go to CAM, like CAM 2, which is like a new type of memory, which is like cheaper. It's a bit more like an NVMe is in the way it connects to the mainboard. And then I think we're going to see more unified memory stuff coming out, so that we don't get to buy the we don't get to buy the VRAM because they need it for the data centers. I think that's pretty much what's going on there, but. Oh yeah, the moral crusaders. Yeah, they should just ban Photoshop, exactly. Yes, we should just ban Photoshop. It's full of AI. Yeah, I don't worry about it, guys. Just keep making what you're making. Just do the work, keep making what you're making, and don't even worry about it. They'll argue about it forever. That's what they'll do. Oh, she showed a bit of ankle. Go back to the Victorian age and see what they thought about showing a bit of ankle. Ooh. The problem will never go away. It's just people have different opinions on things, you know. It's kind of funny. But anyway, I'm all for personal choice, but let's not get into that. Let's see, Vid Replace. So this actually is pretty cool. It does a whole bunch of different stuff. So this is actually going to make a crop box. So mode 1 is fixed. Oh, look at that. $4.50 with an educational discount. Wow. That is cheap. Yeah, unified is insane. The crop box stays the same position for every frame. Draw once, apply everywhere. There's a tracking mode, but it's not using a tracking model. It's manual. So it's like interpolating between the keyframes you set. So you seek through the video, you move the box to different places, okay? And it will interpolate the box and move it around, and then it will do whatever you want to do to this box, okay? So there is a way to have the box, you know, follow things around and then just edit that bit. You'll see what I mean. So you have your crop modes, fixed and tracking. Very simple, really. And you go to effects, you have VidVec. You'll remember I showed VidVec off lately. You have all the data mosh effects, remember earlier, because what I've done is I've effectively taken a previous app and said we're going to apply all the functions from this app as effects in my current app, and he's done it. Okay, Now the last one, masked, that actually has the ModNet person detection. So if it's a person you're applying the effect to, it will auto silhouette and apply the effect only to the person. And this is sort of really important because that's how I am created. That's how I'm sitting in front of you right now. That's just another effect for this system, which obviously isn't in the public app, but it is just another mode, guys. Yeah, I could be in Datamosh right now, or I could be in VidVec right now, or I could be sitting here like this with my skeletons out. Okay. So anyway, it's we've converted over to ONNX for the entire process. It used to be done on a 16 gigabyte VRAM, you know, or a 24 gigabyte VRAM. Now you can do it on CPU with ONNX. So I've been converting a lot of stuff over to WebM and WASM and OpenCV stuff, sort of all this sort of stuff, and then putting that in TypeScript, Vite, React. Okay, you can even do 3JS, and then we build with Tauri for MSI. That's the pipeline, and you can even just take that same project on a Mac, build it for DMG. I told everyone you could do it. I didn't actually have done it, but now I've done it a bunch of times. So we're going to keep doing it, and I'll learn more. Like I said, I learned about this notarization thing, which is it's like a Mac only thing. I'd never heard of it, to be honest. But anyway, we get round it with a little command line. Or I'll pay $100. I'll probably just pay the $100. But anyway, so this is going to export with, you know, the edit, right? There is a debug console if you have problems, which should show, you know, if models aren't loading or if you had any sort of issues. But yeah, I used it for making the app pretty much and just left it there. It's pretty cool. But there's a whole bunch of creature features. It should work well. So essentially it can apply all of these effects, you know, to just a little box, basically. You'll see why that's cool, because I'll do more stuff with this. But vid replace 2, done. I want to see if I can get it running on Mac, though. That's a little challenge. I want to see if we can get it running on Mac, because sometimes the dependencies, you know what I mean? Like I've done a lot of .NET stuff, and .NET is Microsoft, so it's sort of like, will they really .NET? You can run .NET on Mac, but I've never done it, so it's going to be uncharted territory for me, you know. But the plan, as always, is included. So if you want to use your agent to make this app, you don't need to install my version at all. You don't even need my source code. You just need the plan. Just tell your agent to run the plan, and you'll have your own app. You can even do whatever you want with it then, can't you? Anyway, moving on. Next. Oh, now we're getting to the fun stuff. So zero quadratic, guys. This is procedural deterministic relative relational procedural determinism. So we did 0 bytes, which was position as seed. So the idea is everything is in 0 bytes. If you've played games like No Man's Sky, this is pretty much how they do their universe generation. Okay, you can have multiple layers for lots of different things. Anyway, we've written lots of skills on this, and we've used them to make many games that you can already play. But this is a new one. So unlike position as seed, okay, this looks at the... here, I'll just read it. So this is a Claude skill for generating deterministic relationships between entities without storing graphs, adjacency matrices, or state. It's point determinism into relational determinism. So the whole point is the formula went from 0,1 to 0n squared. It's actually a pretty easy idea. I was like, what if I just square it? Anyway, it was literally, the idea came from simple idea. Just what if we square it, right? And we ended up with something very similar to a neural net. So it's like a procedurally deterministic neural net which stores the relationships between all of the elements in. It's quite crazy because it's in 0 bytes, like I said. Obviously it's not like, well, I'll show you what it does here. So no edges are stored, there's no graph traversal, no state. Every faction, tension, trade route, NPC, bond, or magical conduit in your world springs complete from coordinate pairs reproduced across machines forever. So, if I'd like to give some examples, you have political and faction tension, trade route networks, NPC social graphs, ley lines and signal networks, biome pressure and climate cells, diplomatic and narrative causality. I've got a bunch of demos, we're going to see them, by the way. We made demo websites for every skill. But the quadratic skill, like I said, is relational procedural determinism. It's used for... hey, you'll see what it's used for when I show you the demo. It makes sense. But this is all a bunch of really cool stuff. Okay. There's the skill, which will give a report. He can assess code bases and plans, and he'll give you a list of instructions on how to bring it in line with these principles. Moving on. Now we can see the family skill collection. So in here we've got the original 0 bytes skill, and then we've got all of the different I call these descendants of 0 bytes, because that's what they are. They're research descendants, where we've taken the formula in a different direction and applied it to something different. Now most of these are written up, I believe. So 0 bytes says what is at this coordinate. 0 quadratic says what exists between two positions. Cubic is coordinate triples, so n3. So that's what emerges from 3 positions together. And you think, well, what's the point of that? I'll give you an example. If you've got a bunch of NPCs, who's in charge of the 3 guys that are coming to beat you up? Who's in charge? Because they're all different NPCs with procedural values, right? So who's the boss? And the coordinate triple is basically how you figure that out. And it can also determine the dynamics of how they work together as well. So it's really interesting. Anyway, temporal, what is here at this moment, so you can have things linked to time. A good example would be weather patterns. Spectral, region frequency. What's the spectral character of the region? 0 graph, which is what nodes and edges exist in this region. 0 causal, which gives you origin and depth, so what event occurred at step n in the chain. And then 0 field, which is probably the coolest one, because with this you could make a ghost game that used resonance based on the shape of the map to determine where the ghosts are. So you'd have like areas that are more likely to spawn ghosts than others, and it's automatic, dependent on the procedurally generated geometry of the map layout. So it's like you got it for free. A little bit like shadows, you know, you put light on and you get shadows. Well, imagine, I mean, that's obviously simplifying it, but that is a field, right? Light is oh, wait. Wait, is it? Anyway, so position is seed, procedural generation. I used this making all kinds of stuff. So I've already demonstrated loads of JSX components which were built with this. So infinite tile maps, procedural terrain and biomes, that's 2D and 3D. Roguelike dungeon rooms, and yes, we've built like 2 of those. Star systems, which we're going to look at tonight. Ore veins, chunk-based world generation, item drop tables. Any system where a spatial position can deterministically define content. And that even applies to combat. I've got a combat system which is using this, so then you don't even need to calculate any physics. Anyway, so there's the 5 laws. 0-1 access, parallelism, coherency, hierarchy and determinism. They are defined in the skill. So 0 quadratic we touched on earlier. So I'll just read the examples of what this is used for because it's quicker. So faction tension and diplomacy, NPC social graphs and trade route viability, ley line networks, signal propagation, political pressure maps. So any system where a property lives between positions rather than at them. Then we have the cubic, which is coalition diplomacy, 3 faction stability, triangular trade circuit, sacred geometry, NPC group dynamics, as I talked about earlier, who leads and who is scapegoated, 3 reagent procedural crafting reactions, and tectonic triple junction geology, which I think he's trying to show off there, let's be honest. 0 temporal, so adds world time as a 4th coordinate dimension. Position plus epoch pair is Z. Any world state, any moment, past, present or future, is directly computable without simulation, replay or stored logs. It introduces the critical distinction between cyclic properties, sign and cost of epoch, seasons, tides, stochastic properties, anyway. So weather systems, seasonal terrain states, so snow cover, floodplains, NPC daily schedules and patrol routes, etc. Spectral is going to be frequency domain as the space rather than the spatial domain. So this would give adaptive level of detail, biome spectral fingerprinting, procedural audio character maps. This one was a bit weird when I did the demo for this one, I think, to be honest. The interference patterns were really good though. 0 graph topology is seed, so Dungeon Wing room connection layout, settlement road networks, quest dependency graphs, directed DAGs. Did we talk about DAGs earlier? I think we talked about DAGs earlier. Faction alliance and rivalry webs, or maybe it was CAGs. Anyway, there's so many AGs. Cave system topologies, river delta branching, subway and trade networks. So yeah, topology stuff. Then we have zero causal. So this one is procedural civilization history. Do you know what? I'm going to skip over these. Field, spaces seed, yeah. Mana, magic, disease, pollution. It's all pretty crazy. But the point is, if you run the plan, merge the plans. That's what I've done. Let's take a look at some of these demos. I don't know if these are going to run in the browser. I might need to, well, they should do. Yeah, I'll need to download them and run them one at a time. So let's take a look at this one first. So this is zero causal. Oh my god. So it's looking pretty crazy, right? Oh my god, we can't really zoom in on it. Okay, so we've got genetic lineage on the right for some reason. I don't know quite why. And we've got civilization history on the left. So if I change the time, it says browse for era. So this is era. You can see here plague, invasion, reform, civil war. And then over on this side we have, say, neutral lifespan, harmful reproduction, neutral lifespan. Oh my god, I'm not having a good time over here. It's pretty funny. But yeah, like I said, this is giving you like the ability to have a backbone for the data in what's going on in the universe. If you've ever played a game like Elite Dangerous, you'll know that they've got like this massive political system of NPCs that are just all over the place, doing crazy stuff, warring each other, you know. They're all doing like insider takeovers and all kinds of stuff, and this can drive that. So you can have deeply rich worlds with NPCs that are warring factions that don't care. You could not do anything and the game will carry on. You could sit there and do nothing. They're busy with their own stuff. Because of all of this, things will happen. Yeah. So it's quite a cool system. And like I said, you can just skip forward. You could have a time travel game, go anywhere in time and you'd come back to the same place and it's exactly how it should be. You see what I mean? It's kind of interesting because 0 bytes, guys. 0 bytes. And it is possible to actually refine this to say like what you want and use your factions and things. I'm okay with a bit of placeholder for demo. Yeah. So alright, so we looked at causal. Let's look at cubic. Hopefully I can zoom in on this one. Right, here we go. So 0 cubic. So this is a good example of the group dynamics. All right, so if I was to show all triads, that's the interlinked of all, right? If I was to choose the quiet schemer and the contrarian, what happens when we pair them with an opportunist? We get cohesion, okay, with Yale as the leader. This is all really nice stuff to make the NPCs seem much more alive and intelligent. They all have characters and the characters interplay to form the triad, and this is all done with 0 cubic procedural. So if I take the opportunist out and I put the grudge holder in, we're going to get shifting, and now cult becomes the pivot. So this is like giving them complex psychology in 0 bytes. You don't need them to be super intelligent, whatever, hooked up to an LLM. You can just do this. So if I take away the quiet schema and put in the loud braggart, now Roja is the leader. Okay. And if we would, and obviously everybody in the whole, anyone playing the game on the same seed gets the same thing. But if I wanted to use a different seed, now we have a completely different outcome. Okay. So that's the other thing. This has got way more to it than just what it is. Randomize the seed, and now it's very hard to predict. So obviously there's 2 ways to use it. So that's triadic emergence. And this is just a demo. This is just a demo example of how it could work for NPC group dynamics. And like I said, you don't need to worry about it because he's using the 0 N2 layer. Alright, N2 me cubic. Right, let's check the next one. These are fun. These were a lot of fun to build, okay? So now we got zero graph, and all of these are skills which can be applied in abstract ways using Claude or any skill, any skill, skillable, any skillable LLM. Okay, so if we mess around with this here, right. So it's trying to do connections. There we go. So this one is, there we go. You can actually read it now. So this one is Dungeon Wing. So you can see there's combat here with a loot tier 3, difficulty of 1.7 and an entrance. Here we have a puzzle with a difficulty 1.4 and a loot tier 4. If you went the other way, you get empty, and then you find a treasure room with a loot tier 5, difficulty 1.8. After that, you get a puzzle room, followed by combat, followed by empty or combat, leading back to the puzzle room. You see, it's the layout, right? And we can change it. You can say, oh, I want more here, I want more here, I want to change the floor, I want more rooms. Change the seed. A procedurally generative Dungeon Wing. Also, we have road networks as well. Okay. The quest DAG. So again, this would be your, generative quest system. So it's possible to, set up where the origin, where you are. So if I take a mission from an NPC at 2-4 with objectives 9 and seed 13, this is the mission I get. Go here and kill him. Optionally kill him. Right? Who will also be at those objectives because of the quest, right? Change the seed, and now it's a different mission. Change the objectives, now it's a different mission. Change the location where you get because you got to go somewhere to get the quest, right? So you have the location drive the quest. But that's all you need, just the location, okay? And then everything else gets done with zero graph. Which is it's just a determinism formula, so it's not even that crazy. And then you got the cave system, same thing. Okay. So again, zero graph is these are all separate skills. You can just load them in. Next. Quadratic. So this is the one we were going on about. This was the first Descendant, like I say, that inspired the rest because it actually worked. It was really good. Like, I wonder if we can make some more. So I think you can read that. So this is 0N2 as well. So we have the world seed, which obviously gives us, lots of different graphs. This is what I was talking about. It's giving us a relationship network, yeah? So as you can see, if I click on it's just faction tensions. So these are the factions in our game. So let's see, who does Aurora see? Who do they like and who do they don't like? Check out Serpent Gate. Who do they like? Who do they not like? So it's given us a relationship network, or you could say a graph, relationship graph. Yeah. If we look at the NPC, we've got social graph. Who likes who? Allies, rivals. Allies and rivals. Yeah. Aldrich is the warlord with four allies and 3 rivals. Yeah. Even shows the strength as a number, so you can really determine this mathematically. So this is abstract ID pairs, non-spatial relational hashing. You can see the method down here, pair hash, ID A0, ID B0. It's actually insane how simple it is. So anyway, trade routes, yeah, Tidegate, Amberdock. So again, games like Elite and Elite Dangerous, you can have a system determine what all of this. And now, remember, the system. There's 3 ways to play, often with a lot of this. I'll make a skill, which you can show your code base, and he will write you a custom plan, which you can optionally choose to implement. Or you can give him a plan, which he will completely rewrite, and it will be your plan, but with all of this involved. So then when you run it, you've got the advantage of this to stand on. The last way, of course, is to write a JSX component with a demo HTML, the reason is because you can tweak the demo HTML exactly to what you want. So if you want the UI to look a very specific way, for example, you want to really develop out what the JSX is going to be powering, and then what I say is give the JSX and the HTML demo that you finished in a folder in your project, and then you say, with my tin skill, assess my code base before writing any instructions, explain what you want, reference the two files, the JSX and the MD, and tell him, because you're writing in TypeScript, I would imagine, you're going to port the JSX to TSX first while adapting it to your code base, and then when he integrates it, it will actually play well with all of your preserved systems, rather than just coming in like an elephant in a china shop. But so, for example, what that means is, if I already have location names and stuff, it's not going to just overwrite my game with Amber Dock and Silk Haven. These are all nonsense placeholder stuff that we've just generated for the demo, yeah? Ley lines is pretty cool. So you can see flow, ley line network. Again, threshold plus frequency channel. That's how we get it. And the nice thing about it is you can actually change the connection threshold. So if I put it up, you get less. If I put it down, you get sub connections and weaker connections. So you can actually do like an entire transit network simulation. Because what I would thought is, you can get meshes and you can render them as particles rather than loading it in as a full mesh. You can do a particle which is a mesh, and then so you can have traffic, right? You could have a spaceship which is a sort of cargo ship, and they always go in the same way, right? And so you can have this network determining what's where and when and the rates and everything, and then it just becomes like a constant traffic network, right? Rather than, oh, now we have to spawn 500 ships. You have one emitter constantly pooping out one. It's like a fake. It's like a. They can have collision, but it's not that type of game that I'm working on at the moment. You could use it for traffic, like cars and stuff. But anyway. We also have the signal field. So we have a tower here. We have a tower here. We have a tower here. So it's doing quadratic distance fall off. And this can be used for all kinds of things. Because a lot of the time we're using like a noise pattern or a field to actually determine like what things are and where. So this could be like, for example, a planet's surface, and this could be terrain height, or whether it is land or water. There's all kinds of stuff you can do with this stuff. And the thing is, if I change the seed, I get all different ones, right? It could be an island. If you say you were making like a flight sim game and you wanted to fly and do dogfights over an island, you can get different islands every time. There's all kinds of stuff you can do just by changing a couple of variables to suit what you want. But yeah. Zero quadratic, super useful. Probably the second most useful after 0 bytes. But I'm falling for cubic as well. Cubic has been quite useful. So that's the quadratic demo. So let's look at the spectral demo real quick. So this was the one that was weird. So jagged mountains, rolling hills, smooth plains, ocean. So it's giving me like, what's that game called? Is it Dungeon Fortress or something? Oh, what's it called? Dwarf Fortress? It sort of reminds me of Dwarf Fortress, doesn't it? But yeah. So it's trying to do the adaptive LOD. I think that failed, to be honest. Okay, it's made some weird sound panel thing there. I did like this though. The animated interference pattern stuff is cool. And that's useful. But the rest of it was a bit of a miss on this one, I'll be honest. The actual tool, it's because it's not really for making visuals, it's for doing like the code in the back, so trying to visually represent it is a challenge. But like I said, I like giving him these abstract challenges, you know. This one's going to work a little bit more obviously. It's easy to follow, this one. So this is the 0 temporal, okay? So in the left you have the weather grid. So this is what happens. What's the weather doing at any particular location? We're looking top down. And then you have the seasonal terrain. So what's the terrain look like on the ground seasonally, okay? And then finally we have the NPC town map. Now there are no buildings, but right now They're all sleeping at their homes. So you can imagine this is the home of all. Each one of these is an NPC. So what we're going to get from this is NPC pathing destination in the village. So, you know, they're going to be moving around and doing stuff all the time, right? They've all got generative behavior routes, you know? So you don't have to do pathfinding and stuff. You don't have to code all that. It just needs to know where things are and, yeah. So anyway, I don't need to go on. I can just click play. Can I make this a bit bigger so you can see it working? Oh, it doesn't really get bigger. So right now it's costing about 5 ms, 4 ms, okay, which is not bad. There's 0 bytes stored, as obviously. And what we're doing is we're playing through super fast. So that's day 187, day 188. See the hour timer here is flying up. And basically they're going through their positions. So they're going to the tavern, they're going to church, they're going to the fields, and they're going to sleep at night. And then we can see the weather here is fluctuating, you know what I mean? Like the weather is changing over time. If I just skip forward to winter, hang on, stop. Skip forward to winter, there's snow on the ground. You see what I mean? So if I just go through it really fast, you can see what I mean. Now we're in the spring of year 2. Okay. And obviously if in World Seed 42, everyone sees the same thing. So you don't need to store and you can do it all at runtime for free. It's kind of fun, isn't it? So XYZ hash, you know, so epoch, XYZ epoch, that's all you need. All right, obviously the different colors are different things. Okay, all right, that was pretty obvious, I think. Like I said, that was pretty obvious. We've done all of them now. Temporal, spectral, quadratic, graph, cubic, causal. Yeah, we've done them all, I think. Alright, so there's all the actual skills. You just unzip them. The skill is a zip file. You unzip it into your commands folder. Usually you'll find Claude in .claude. Yo, what's going on? Rocco says, thoughts are free. There aren't many things. Well, I don't know, man. I think that if I don't eat a sandwich, I can't think very well. So maybe my thoughts are powered by sandwiches. All right. So that is that one. Vid Replacer. So Vid Replacer we already covered, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is the vid. That will come in much because that is going to be my matting tool. See, so I basically built everything, and next we're going to put video in instead. So instead of it being like, oh, you just do an effect on a thing. Get rid of that. The Zero Skill Collection, which we just looked at, and then the overview, which is on DeepWiki. Now, I'm not going to go over it. I've just given you the tour, so we can move on. But it's on DeepWiki. So is Zero Vector 7 Ollama, which is the brain model. But we don't have time for that right now. So is the Claude Sniffer skill. But again, we already talked about that. Okay, Live Face Track. So what is this? It's another MSI installation desktop tool, mostly to test the speed of the ONNX version of YOLO 8. So what this does, you download the MSI on Windows, you install it, it uses your webcam, and what it does is it's going to draw a face, going to use face recognition to put the box over around your face, and it's got built-in SVG overlay, animated SVG overlay for like mask assets and things like this. And then it also has pixelation, you know, to censor out the face, you know what I mean? So we were testing that. So it runs through bundled YOLO V8N, and it's using web GPU, falling back to multi-threaded CPU WASM. So the test is really to see like how low the hardware, what the frame rate is, and that's what it was for. Okay, it runs great on a 4GB laptop, but I haven't had a chance to test it on much more than that. So essentially, like I said, it's a webcam. It censors your face. but you can also track with an SVG layer if you want to get fancy. Did I do anything else to it? Did I do anything else with it? I forget. But mostly this is just to make sure we can do motion tracking somehow, right? So what I want to do is I actually want to use this for motion tracking and video editing, because that's something which would be really cool to have, because mostly you have to do that with like Adobe After Effects and stuff. So it'd be really cool to use an ONNX local, because they're so small. These models are so small. So that'd be your live face tracks. This is my first experiment using live runtime tracking with WebGPU. So that's what that is. You can take it for a spin. And don't forget, I've given you the live face track grounding artifact, which does actually go through a bunch of different ways of doing it, so you don't have to use the same way, right? I chose one of the routes identified from my grounding artifact. So often I'll do research to make the grounding, and then I'll make my tins, which is the actual implementation plan. They all look something like this. They all look something like this. It should be fine. Okay. Get rid of that. Okay, so in the process of migrating all my websites, remember I told you we did 21 websites in one prompt with Opus because we wanted to test the 1 million context. He slammed it. The way I did it, by the way, because obviously that is way more than 1 million context. What, you're going to download 21 Veet projects, build them all, change them all, build them for web, all this stuff? Okay, so we set up the plan was A, B, C, D, and then it was loop through list, and then it was parallelize 4 workers concurrent. So that's how we actually did it. You know what I mean? He didn't actually do all 21 at once. He actually was smart about it, and he used 4 parallel workers to do one site each. Download the GitHub, do the update, change the code so it's not, you know, a cloud app anymore. Now it runs local, rebuild it for web, commit it back to that GitHub. He did all of it. He did a great job. It was flawless. So, okay. So again, in that process, I found that my deep search persona, ZV8, was actually written on Python, and it was actually running on the server. So it wasn't like modernized, if you know what I mean. It wasn't minified JavaScript and HTML. It was actually a server serving a page with Python running on the server. So anyway, we've refactored that entire thing. So 0 Vector 8 Deep Search Persona is now available as a desktop app. It comes with 3 built-in personas at the moment. I'm probably going to improve it as time goes on. But at the moment, these are pretty fun. They're either funny or useful, and you don't need to use my personas at all. I used Grok 4 Fast with online, so it can do the search with OpenRouter API key. That's how this one works. But it does mean you can use any model in their list. You just do :online, I think, if that still works, to get the web search with OpenRouter. So you can enable any app with web search. And essentially, it's like an agentic team that does planning, searching, analyzing, validating, refining, and synthesizing. But that's only for the persona stuff, if you actually had it activated. It downloads like a great big zip file with all of the research history and everything in it, so it's pretty good. So yeah, like I said, it's quite an old project now, but it was nice to refactor it into Veet, TypeScript, and then Tauri for the build. Okay, which is that's by far the simplest route, especially if you're going to use Claude Code and all this nonsense. So yeah, we go. So now we finally get to Atom Offline. Now before I go into that, I'm going to say this. Did you try Daydream Scope yet? Did you try it? Did you try it? Did you try the scope thing? Was it fun? Should we see if we can get it to work again? So I think I have to do UV run Daydream Scope. I thought we'd take a quick look at this. So obviously you could just run the desktop app, you could just or you can install with UV, as I say. So that's what we've done here. It is going to take a minute to actually open. It just happens to be cached. It's not actually running yet, guys. This is just a cache. Bloody hell. GPU detected with 24 gigabytes of VRAM. Modular diffusers is currently experimental. The API is subject to breaking changes. These are all encouraging things. But no, seriously, this is a pretty cool tool. I hope they make it like so you can actually use it with less than 20 gigabytes of VRAM. But yeah, there it is. It's going to be live and it's going to be a world model, allegedly. I mean, it did work. You know, I'm not going to say it isn't that. But I don't know if I've actually loaded up the world model this time. Let me see. Okay, it's running. So the first thing is first, if I just go over to the long live, there are many options which I don't necessarily have set up right now. And there are workflows that you can download from people as well. So if I get the long live and I've got a picture of the woman's, and I say in the thing here, oh, that is not a good prompt. Okay. What do we do? The woman with dark hair is walking towards the camera. Okay. And I remember being like, I mean, I haven't got any of the inputs and pre-processors and all of this good stuff. I haven't done any of that. All right. So to be fair, but this does have the ability to do zero copy stuff if you install Spout. I haven't installed Spout. What else is there? Caching stuff, quantization. Because Vase is just, oh, turn off Vase. And am I even using? I guess I am using Vase. So loading text encoder. No LoRa's. I haven't got any LoRa's. Okay. Video track resumed. What are we doing? Something is happening. It worked yesterday. I think it might just be slow. Ah, okay. So now we get thing. I mean, it's sort of close, but a little bit. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is, right? But the quality is not there. But it is what it is. That is character with roughly the right, you know what I mean? From the image input, you can't see the image input really very well, but it's, you know, vaguely the same outfit. I mean, you know what I mean? It's trying, right? And it just kind of pulled it out, probably within a few seconds. FPS 10. Let's just let it keep running. Let's see what happens. We're up to 50 seconds now. Do you remember like when the SD first came out, SD 1.4, 1.5? It kind of looked a little bit sketchy like this, but then you see what the images are like now. So when I see it looking like this, I'm like, it's just a bit blurry. They'll sharpen it up. So where I want to see if it'll melt or if it'll like self-stabilize. It looks like it kind of refreshes itself every now and then. So this is based on Long Live. And we're using Daydream Scope. So it seems like we've lost the character a bit now. Yeah, look. The character's gone. It's just this woman now. Woman, oh, wait. Is she going to try and walk towards the camera? She was supposed to be walking towards the camera the whole time, by the way. Okay. We're at 2 minutes. There are other modes where you can like control where the camera looks and things like that. But for this, it's more like a live video generator. Do you know what I mean? So it's just generating live forever until I stop it. So that's a different way of doing it, isn't it? But I think, as you can imagine, it's just going to keep going like this. And what I imagine is happening is that it's slowly returning to the bias of whatever the model wants to make. But it is interesting that the half-dead robot is still kind of there in the background after like 2.5 minutes plus. Like I said, the quality is not there, but we've seen worse than this, especially when it comes to video. This is actually amazing for what is essentially live, right? It's only 9 frames per second right now. 9 FPS is what we're actually getting. It's interesting. See, I want to know like audio reactive, live audio reactive, you know, so like for music videos and stuff, because you don't really necessarily need it to be like people. It could be abstract shapes and stuff that are just moving to the beat. And to be honest, if you go and look in their library, there is a lot of that stuff. This tool is used by DJs to do live performances, so a lot of the preset workflows you'll find for this are in that way. But I do like to keep reminding people about this because I haven't really released anything for it yet. But I do like to remind people about it because it's a very cool project with some cool people behind it. All right, that's enough. That's enough of that. It's time for Adam Offline. But first, I have to do a short coffee break because we're going to just plug into the other machine. It's going to be much easier to just plug into the other machine, I hope. And then there'll be no lag. So that's the last thing I want. I'm trying to show game dev stuff next. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the actual application of this particular repo here, which is Adam Offline JSX. In combination with the Adam Offline tins, which I've already written and executed, we have been using a variety of JSXs which have been migrated to TSX for systems in the game. Each one of them actually includes a JSX and a demo. So I will take a look at the demos before I disappear. So let's see, that was the socket editor, so let's do this one next. And then the warp tunnel, we'll do that one, and then we go back again, do the weapon systems, we go like that, and then we have it. So, oh, and there's also the spaceship demo, that was the one that started it all. So these are all of the JSXs which were integrated into Adam Offline. So as you can see here, we've got this one. So let's take a look at that real quick. I can do that here, I think. Google is having fun with opening it. Right, so as you can see, we have a spaceship in the middle of the screen. It's a bit hard to see it because it's so bloody dark in space. Okay, but the idea with this is that you have the EVE Online style spaceship. You double click to move it. If I just put it on speed, double click, and it will move to the vector. So if I click up there, he'll fly up to there. If I go down here, he'll fly to here. And that's essentially all it is. It's just the player flight controller. I know it's hard to see, but in space, it's hard to see. So we get rid of that. Right, that's the flight controller. And then we have the weapon system. So by developing each component separately, you don't have to worry so much about, you know, stepping on the toes of everything you already have working. So there's your mining laser, there's your combat laser, there's a missile, lovely, I love the cone going sideways. That would be a rail gun. This would be artillery shell, probably going to be a big, I think artillery shell. Anyway, we have mining drones, which obviously go to the thing, orbit around and start mining. And then we have combat drones, which go to the thing and start shooting it. Okay, so this is all obvious EVE Online stuff, right? That's basically all of it, really, for that aspect, a specific aspect. So then by combining the first thing I showed you with the last thing I showed with that, then obviously, oh, well, what about, you know, in space games, people love to see a nice warp tunnel, right, when you do the jump gate. So we do the jump gate, and we do the little warp thing. Whoa, hey, oh wow, it's like Stargate or something, right? And then we get a whiteout. Okay. And then we have just different effects with different, I think, is the inside of it different as well, or is it just the startup? Yeah, the inside's a different color. Okay. Alright, so yeah, you get the idea, right? So that's that one. And then we have the station interior, which if I remember was pretty dark, you know. So it'd be cool if you could be able to actually see your ship here. And then when you click the dock button, it goes down. A little bit like he's got a bit confused with the Elite Dangerous, which is quite funny. But then you'd click on market and all these different bits and pieces, or you'd go undock. And then out we go back to space, right? And it looks exactly like this. Next, of course, we have, well, we're using low poly. I use my low poly ship editor, right? I use low poly ship editor. But they are then baked to GLB, so you can use GLB assets in the game. There is already a ship editor, but I wanted to show you a new one that I've just come up with called GLB Socket Editor. So you have a player component, which is the ship. So it's sideways at the moment, don't worry about that. So you have a component which is the ship, right? So we want cannon, exhaust, shield emitter, port thruster. So, and this is with mirror mode, so we have them on both sides. But the idea is so that you can bring in whatever model you want, and then you can just put on where the effects come out. So the guns will shoot from the guns, the engines will shoot from the engines, and you just like I said, you can either give this to players, or you can just do it in development and then turn it off when you're done. So either way doesn't matter. It exports a JSON, which has got the same name as the file name. And then when you go to bring them into the code, you say, hey, look, here's my offsets for all of my mounts. So if you want to have like modular weapons and stuff, you know, you need a place to stick them on. And this is basically what sockets are for. There you go. So it's the socket manager for the model. Save it out. Done. Okay, we go like that. Haha, do you know what? Rocco's hitting us with stats, which were in my he's hitting us with stats from my what's it called? From my humanities project. I've actually got a stat just like that piece of paper thing you just said in my book I just finished. It's not printed yet though, so I'll keep quiet until it's in print, but you can read all of the articles up on Substack. All my books get released this month, so every single story I've written in the last year or two maybe is going on Substack this month. They'll all be out by the end of the month. It's like scheduled. It's kind of crazy. I just automated the whole thing for releasing it all basically. So yeah, like I say, Adam 3D spaceship controller with all of the extra trimmings. It's also got the explosion system now, it's the same one. But I'll actually show you the game next. So we're going to make this all disappear now. Let's stop this. Do we stop this? Let me just shut this down proper. All right, yeah. He's gone. She gone. Oh. So don't forget Mushroom Fleet on GitHub. Get the latest stuff. You'll see the public stuff. So yeah, Banana Tool is a must-have, honestly. Definitely get the Zero Byte family skills. I'm going to get coffee. Steve, grab us a mug, mate. Indeed. I'll be right back. We are back. Right, let's switch it over. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hopefully this works. Oh boy, whiteout. So this would be the Connected World, Chapter 5 from 8 Billion, The True State of Humanity, a book coming soon. You can read it all for free on Diffusion Designers, my Substack account, and it's got a bunch of cool stats. I see you guys love cool stats. There's a hell of a lot up there. So there we go. It's okay. You can have coffee with no caffeine after 10. It's fine. I mean, I don't do it, but you could do it if you want. Coffee. It's coffee time all the time where I'm from, unless I've run out, and then I'm in trouble. I basically have coffee, not blood. That's what's going on at this point. All right. So let's not mess around with whatever this is. First things first. A quick reminder. Don't forget that we have Token Weather. Token Weather. Your first stop for what the hell is going on with my LLM and why are things not working right now. It's expressed through the sort of paradigm of weather or traffic. You can pretty much pick your own. They never announce maintenance, which is what the The forecast is learned, so it's pretty much useless with only 2 weeks under its belt. But eventually, it will be able to forecast maintenance, even if they don't tell us when it is, because it will learn when they go down. It has a full history which you can break down with charts. And you pretty much only really need the overview dashboard. So yeah, very cool, very cool. More stuff coming like that soon. So let's get to the game. Full screen, please. Can we? Whoa. Okay, I'm in the game. I'm in the game, guys. So we have our cool red ship, which you will remember from Riot Wars, which is a working title. And we're obviously in the hangar, so we'll do a dock, and it's going to show us our menu. We've got market, ship fitting, refinery, training, and diplomacy. If I go to any of these, it's just going to open up a full screen menu for ship services, right? So here we have diplomacy. Again, this is all powered by the 0-byte stuff that I was showing you earlier. It's built with the skills to write the code to do the thing. So there's zero AI in the game, yeah? But it's written with a lot of procedural determinism tricks, so there's nothing. There's nothing. Everything is 0 bytes pretty much. Obviously, there is some stuff you got to save, like player progress and things like this. I've been playing it a bit, so I've got a bit of money and some XP. It's a work in progress as well, you know. I'm not planning on releasing a full game or anything like this. This is like a work in progress, sort of like, what can it do? We kick the tires and say, what can it do in a couple of hours? How solid is this? And, you know, development is development. There's always bugs to squash. That never ends. But it's surprising how far you can get in a single shot. So, you know, you've seen games with a cool menu before. You've probably seen, like, low poly stuff before. That's not really that great. So how about we show you the actual game, yeah? Let's just undock and show you what the actual game looks like. So this is what it actually looks like. So we're aping EVE Online. What I've done is I've compressed everything close together for the sake of testing, okay? So I don't really have to move. But to move, it's just a double click. I put my speed. Where is it? Off we go. So the ship is flying along. You know, it's just like EVE Online, you know, you double click in a direction, the ship goes in the direction. Oh! He didn't rotate my thrusters. The thrusters, so I had to rotate the ship 180 degrees. He didn't rotate. Okay. See what I mean by bugs all the time? So I've got a component system with the particle effects. Go over there, mate. But he rotated the ship, but not the sockets. So the sockets are backwards, but don't worry about it. So anyway, if I was to go ahead and use the overview, just like I go to the station and I go approach, it's going to approach the station. When I get close enough, I can dock. So I'll just show you that actually works, but you can probably guess, yeah, it works, right? If we come out of here, say we got this rock right next to us, yeah, we're going to lock onto the rock and then we're going to mine the rock. Oh, that one, okay. And we've mined it now. So then, oh, that's an NPC. He doesn't have a ship right now. He doesn't have a ship model. He's just got a diamond. Placeholder, yeah? So anyway, you've probably seen all that. That's all well and good. So yeah, it's 3D. It's got the models, okay? Now, just for the record, right? if I go into Control F11, I have my ship designer. It uses a JSON-based system. So this doesn't have an import yet. I just brought it in. But essentially what it does is allows you to... Oh, no, you can import. All right, give me a sec. I got loads. Hang on a sec. Let's see, is it ships? Ship. Just go into Ryrit. Ryrit. Gunner. Oh, he knows the secret name now. Come on, mate. Ship models. So we get enemy big wedge, right? Let's get that one. My double click is broken, mate. I need a new mouse. Alright, so there's an example of a ship, what we done build in this designer. Okay. And obviously that can be exported as GLB. So let's just do that now. So I'll just GTLF. Yeah. Export that as a GTLF. And then I can close this. It's got mirror mode and all that. I've also got another editor, which is the... Oh, wait. He says... Oh, wrong button. We also have this, which is the socket editor, you know? So you can add sockets for the effects. I have to tell him to rotate the sockets, but yeah. So the point is, you know, it's a full system, you know? You can make the GLB models with AI. It's just Mega Mesh with textures. It's a format that's for that, efficient format for that. TLF is streaming, basically, a streaming format. Yeah, anyway. So yeah, we can bring those in. So that means you can bring in whatever model you want, and then you can put where the engines are and stuff like this. So then essentially it's like moddable built in, you know what I mean? But for development, if you don't want the players to mod, you can use these systems during development to get everything nice and working properly. And then you just disable or remove the editors once you finish dev. You know, it's pretty straightforward. So we've seen the mining, we've seen the docking. Let's go and see the gate thing, yeah? So we're going to warp to it, and hopefully we're not just going to fly straight past it. Everything's so close together. Is it going to stop? Oh, wait. Is it going to stop? I think it warps to and then decelerates, and then you have to approach the gate, which is actually how you're supposed to do it. That is it. That is correct. And then we're going to jump gate when we're close enough. Yep, jump. My mouse doesn't work, guys. So I'm, you know, bit of a harsh transition, I know, but hey, warp effect, right? It's got a warp effect, guys. It's a tunnel and stuff, right? What was it? Spared no expense. Right, let's stop the ship. Stop. Okay. So now we're in a new system. They all look identical at the moment. But if I go to the cluster map, here are all of my potential places I can go. And this is just part of the galaxy. The dead zone isn't one thing, you know. But as you can see, we've got all types of stuff here. So M star, no planets, station yes, belts 1. Here we have M star planets. How has it got minus? It's got negative planets somehow. And then M star planets 1, yes, belt 0. So the idea is this will be the nav system. You'll be able to click this, and there should be a button for route, and then that's your auto jump. You know what I mean? It will go doop de doop de doop like in EVE Online. I'm basically trying to create EVE Online in 0 bytes with AI in 24 hours, and we've. I think we got surprisingly close. I know it's not, all right, but here's the thing. The procedural design here lends to multiplayer, okay? I've already proven it with R-Tank 6, okay? It might be, you know, you can play it. It's multiplayer. And the joke is there's no sign-in. Anybody can just join. Look, they made it so you can ally, so it is a PvP game. I'd be careful, but, you know, it's just for fun, right? Little browser games. But the point is it does do, the multiplayer does work really well. You know... if you want to play right now, I'll give you a link. And we can play right now. Yeah. Because that one's actually working with multiplayer. You can play it right now. There's a demo. I'll put the link in the chat. Let me finish going on about this, though, real quick. So obviously it does actually have a full galaxy, this one, right? So we have actually made the procedural whatever, okay, but we're in like friendly space, so we can't test combat here. The only thing that you would really do is make the maps much, much bigger, so you can't see anything. So, you know, if I come to a gate, there's just a gate there. You know, everything right now is like really all close together, but functionally, it's actually all there. You know, if I was to go and dock with the station here, you're going to see new stuff, sales. You know, you can already do the trading stuff and you can go around killing pirates in the dead space. It just takes forever to get there because the galaxy's so bloody huge. I'm starting to see why EVE Online do things how they did it, you know? I'm starting to understand some of the stuff. It's kind of interesting. I overshot. It's alright. He should be stopping. Oh, we're in. We made it. So yeah, now we're in a different, you can see there's a different name, and if we were smart, we'd notice there'd be different prices. So anyway, let's just return to the hangar. We'll leave it on this screen because it's kind of cool. Because like I said, it's all AI, but there's no AI. The actual game does not contain AI. I made that model by hand, dude. That model down there, I made that with, do you know what I mean? I just put the shapes together in the you know what I mean? It's not actually AI. It's funny. It's funny. Anyway, I just think it's funny. Right. Let's just get the address for this other game real quick. So, do you know what? I'm going to switch back to the other machine real quick. It's not coffee time. I'm just swapping cables around. So hopefully don't break everything. Right. Are we back? Did we break it? We're back. I'm back at my desk. Okay, guys. So, it's going to be, is it Scuff Depot / React Tanks 6? I think. There it is, online. All you got to do is put your name in. So let me just put that in the chat real quick, and then I will read the chat. So let me see. You'll probably end up just killing me. No. Okay. It's going to be https://scuffedepoch.com/react-tanks-6. There it is. If you go to that website, you'll see this login page. If you click on that, if you just put your name in, it won't. I mean, I think you just get a number if you don't put your name in. But I'll put my name in. All right, and I'm just gonna go. Why not? I'll just do continue. But you'll be doing. I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know actually. Whoa, I need to make the floor a little bit less lumpy. What's that over there? What is that? I've never even seen one of these before. Whoa. What's going on with this tank? The floor is like not as lumpy as the terrain. That's funny. So where am I anyway? Have I like zoomed in on the game? Yeah, there we go. That's what it's supposed to look like. Okay, right. So yeah, I mean, I'll try and find my way back to the start. I think... Where is the start? There's no one else here yet. Good luck. So this is all obviously procedural. It's like a dungeon game through the veil of tanks. They're a bit drifty, okay? The tanks are drifty as well. Because I like it. It's fun. Oh no! Oh, I need that loot. Oh, I'm missing him a lot. There we go. I can't remember why I decided to leave all of the shots in the air like that. It reminded me of the Stigmergic stuff. Like swarm trails, you know? Other players can see there's been combat because they can literally see where all the shots were. I don't know if they sync though. I mean, I think they do, but I don't know. It might just be for me. Oh crap! I'm getting taking damage here. So anyway, this is the current iteration of R-Tank 6. It's fully multiplayer. Oh, I can see somebody. C2000F. I wonder where you are. Do you know what I'll do? I'll go back to the home base. Yeah. Deploy. There we go. I should be able to find someone now. Is that you? That's you right there. I see ya. I'm going to jump out my tank and come and say hello. Because yes, we do actually have fully working people walking around in the game. You can't see her because she's so bloody white. Hang on. There she is. I need to make it so you can zoom in a little bit more, but you know, there's actual NPCs in the game you can go and talk to. These are other members of the team. That's the broker. No, sorry, merchant. That's the merchant. We can have a little chat with her, look. So can we press F? Press F. Press F. It's not working. It's not working. Oh well, I can't talk to her then, I guess. And I can get back in the tank. This guy's not moving on my screen. Oh well. Bugs. There's another NPC. I wonder if I can talk to her. Hello, can I talk to you, please? This is like extremely basic though. All we did was prove that it can be done. This is like prove it can be done. We proved it can be done. Obviously these the idle animations are a bit scuffed. Okay. But she has idle, she's got attack animations, she's got all kinds of stuff, okay? But the point is, I was just making sure that it was possible, because I'm not going to waste my time with all this nonsense if it's not even feasible, right? But it is feasible. So you want to spend a bit more time on it, you could actually just do that. But, you know, look at what was achieved here. This is a custom base. You can spend your points on building structures. They don't do anything, not really, but you can make it that they do something, you know what I mean? The fact that it's possible is the main thing. Like, that's obviously a placeholder tank, right? It's just made in SVG pieces. I just threw it together. Can she run? She can run! She can Naruto run. So anyway, yeah, each of the NPCs, I should be able to talk to her. There's something wrong with that. I don't know what it is. This guy doesn't look like he can get in. I don't know what's going on. Propel. Ah, he's got a name now. Propel Project. I can see him. Propel Project. Maybe he's downloading all the models. Ah, there he is. I see ya. Right, hang on. Let me see if I can remember how to ally. Was it H? Is it H? No. H? What was it? I forget what the number is. There's a number for ally. B? V? Oh, wow. I forgot there was a first person. I bet that's hell. How do I do alliance in this game? I swear it was H or G. A? Oh, it doesn't matter, I guess. I remember what that was. I'm going to get close to him. Oh, there it is. Wait. G, H. Oh. I don't remember. Oh, look at you, look at you, look at you. Yeah, look, his model's gone. Yeah, it's a wireframe in multiplayer, guys. This budget, development budget, guys. See? Only my model is real, you're a wireframe. And then he'll be like, but your model's a wireframe. Look, his turret is still turning when he's not in the tank anymore. That's quite funny. I need to make it so you can zoom in a bit more. And then maybe make like a grass. That'd be cool. Maybe I can make like a grass thing. Like a grass engine. Look, when he moves, his turret's moving. It's pretty sick, actually. I kind of like that. Alright. I'm getting back in the tank anyway. Should go for a little drive. But like I said, look, it's multiplayer. What do you want? I'm actually considering it. So yeah, let's just catch up and see what people are saying real quick here. So, can you make us World of Warcraft that we can play together? The answer is yes. but it's going to be scuffed. Yeah, because the thing is, I can only do stuff on a zero budget. You know, you can only go so far on a zero budget, right? But this is working, you know. Look, when we both got good internet, this is actually synced up just fine. I think we're not shooting each other, which is nice. I don't know how that worked. We must already be in a team. So let's just go this way a bit, bruv. Follow me. You can press shift to kind of like, you know, drift. Do you know what I mean? No friction mode. So anyway, in this game you have an infinite dungeon, and I am going to make the ground less lumpy. It's because the ground was originally made for a flight sim, so it's supposed to look good when you're flying over it, like in a helicopter, you know, like Desert Strike or something. But then in the end I was like, make it with tanks. It is kind of cool. I mean, if you go slow, it kind of looks alright. But like I said, so yeah, we're going to keep going. I think we need to find like an area that I haven't already killed everything. Let's try going through here. And hopefully we find some enemies. It looks like we're going into a yellow area. What's the yellow area? What is this thing? See, I love it. There's so much procedural content. I don't even know. Let me see this. What is this? What is this? I thought I just crashed, but no, I'm okay. I'm okay. Let's push on. These must be just like random structures, because the game does have like random structures and secrets and all kinds of silly stuff. Essentially what you do is you go around killing enemy tanks, collecting scrap, and then you can build buildings in the home base. That's essentially all it has right now. But there is like a quest system. Oh yeah, and there's actually, you know, have you ever played that game Shadow of Mordor? Well, basically if we get killed by an enemy tank, he'll become our nemesis, and then he'll start spawning back harder and harder until we kill him. You know what I mean? So it's like and he's roaming around. Well, right now we haven't been killed yet, so there isn't one yet, but once that starts happening, there'll be like a super tank with some buddies, and he'll be driving around trying to get us. Oh, and another thing, the walls don't matter, all right? I'm actually going to make the walls much, much lower, because the walls don't really matter. Okay. It's just a big sand dune. So let's see, this is wilderness. Still pretty boring. Can't find any enemies. I'm going to keep going. Just finding loads of peaceful stuff right now. Nothing to kill. It probably remembers. Because this is the thing, because it's an MMO type thing, everything is persistent. So if you go through and you kill all of the enemies around your base, I don't think they come back. Or maybe they do. I don't know. I can't remember what the rules are. Oh, hello. What's that? What's that? Is that an NPC? You should be able to go up and talk to these girls as well. They should be like giving you chat, like, oh, I refilled your oh my god, I found the director. What? She's the boss. I've never found the boss before. So press F. Oh, I can't. E. It's E. Commander, we have a situation. Hostile forces are gathering in a nearby sector. We need someone to neutralize the threat. Accept the mission. What? I don't remember this. Where do we have to go? I don't think this is done. But yeah, you can actually press E and talk to her, and her little face comes up, and you have a little conversation. I don't think there actually is a mission. But the system's there waiting for it to be added. Do you know what I mean? I also want to change it so that everyone can see their proper model as well. And also, I don't know why I keep breaking my animations and getting in a T-pose. You're talking to the person here. Yeah, it's quite funny. These are the tank girls that we made them with Nano Banana in T-pose, straight through Meshi to GLB, and we used the animations, they're external animations. You can actually, there's an AI model you can use to generate the animations as well now. We tested that. I got a tool that converts them to Mixamo, retargets them. Oh yeah, and also one thing I didn't mention. I showed you the low poly ship editor earlier, right? This was made with the low poly tank editor. And the funny thing is that it knows which piece is which. So what you can do is you can export these as JSON, and I could make like a few aesthetic different designs. And then I have 3 JSONs, which are all identical, except for the bits I changed. You can give those 3 JSONs to an LLM and say, give me 5 more. Or give me 5 more in a different style. And he actually will get it. He will get it. And I've got like a whole bunch of spaceships that we basically imagined using text, just getting JSON variants and then cooking them to GLB, right? It's kind of fun. I'm going to make this ground is going to be so much flatter, by the way. I just didn't want it to be perfectly flat, and it's still way too high, because it was, like I said, originally for like mountains that you fly over in a plane. Can we find some enemies? Let's try one more room here. I think if we just keep going this way, the game just gets harder and harder and harder, so... do we boost? We can boost with space. Hell yeah. Alright. Which way am I moving? Am I going this way? Is it this way? Yep. Yeah, it's this way. This is all red over here. This has got to be enemies. It's got to be. Wouldn't it be funny if the enemy spawning is just broken? I could have sworn I was killing people earlier. Ah, there we go. We got enemies. Oh, he's shooting me. Take him out, mate. I've made sure that combat is synced, so I can see what you're killing, and you should, you know. That was a problem as well, though. We had to debug that. You know what I mean? It was like, at first it was like we couldn't really help each other because we couldn't, you know, we were killing different enemies that we weren't really seeing. Whoa. Alright, but yeah, I think making a little MMO thing would be a good idea next, because we can actually make the people walk around and do stuff. The problem we were having was that it's like, it was a very restricted set of animations, and animation states are buggy. Oh wow, Propel's gone. He's off. I'm gonna have to go and chase him. Can't leave him alone. Never leave a man behind. Alright. Huh. Oh wow, what the hell? Caught a volcanic zone. Damn, dude. I'll take the white guy. There are actually other weapons, but I just didn't bother to use them. Oh, he is dead. He got one-shotted. There's no explosions either, which is weird. Oh my god, I'm just missing. Miss. What the heck? Is he a zombie? No, he's taking damage. There we go, he's dead. Oh shit. Where's Propel? Did he die? Oh, he's disconnected. Alright, that's enough of that anyway. So, what I want to do is show you, you know, how we got there. Yeah? So let's just take a quick overview of that. Oh, Propel's back. Hang on, let me just jump back. Return to home base. So, again, when you have monies, you can buy things. Yeah? Look, see? Oh, what's this? This is the Doom validation for a good map design. That's hilarious. Ignore that. So what? It's making us make a first-person map with our money? I want to put a secret in. I can't do that. What are you talking about? An enemy spawn? What? No. It's very confused. Deploy! Alright, well, I don't know where he's gone, but that's me out of there. So anyway, Good Times with weapons was relatively easy to put together. Use a whole bunch of components. I think it might be a good idea to make an open world MMO next, which is kind of funny. Kind of funny, really. It's completely bonkers, but actually not quite as bonkers as you think. So, just got to break it up. So let me just switch computers one more time because I want to show you stuff on the other machine. Wah, wah. Okay, here it is. Yeah. All right. Gentlemen. Get that screen up. Oh, we're back. So as we were talking earlier, we have this game here. So we've seen enough of the game. Let's take a little bit of time. There we go. To have a look at the guts. So here we have the infamous VS Code with Claude Code doing everything down here. Okay. So as you can see here, we have our TINS plans. Right. So the first one would be this one. The Adam Offline Unified ZB 0 bytes TINS, which unifies the ZB 3D Combat 0 bytes, cubic, and quadratic. The original plan is literally a bunch of dreams. What buttons to use, what the HUD elements are going to be, what the type of game is, and stuff like this. Okay? You know, the bullet points of how a game like EVE Online would work in single player. Okay. And then obviously the 0 bytes is going to do star cluster generation, asteroid belt layout, ore richness by zone, pirate spawn logic, station market prices, loot rec contents, planet properties, and warp gate connectivity. The 0 cubic is going to do coalition stability, trade circuits, Wolfpack dynamics, remember the NPC grouping we looked at earlier, triple belt contested fields. And then the quadratic is going to do the faction pairwise hostility, trade route viability, and ore belt adjacency tension. So all that stuff is just completely deterministic. You don't have to worry about it. It's done. I also use my Galaxy to Grain JSX for doing the entire universe, you know, the whole galaxy seeding and where everything is. So it's Galaxy to Grain. It goes right down to determining what the terrain type is of every planet. Okay, so it's as good as, it's very much like Elite Dangerous in that way. And okay, so that's all the original plans. Then we get into the implementation. So stage 1 obviously just implements the plan. So we do everything, right? The 0 bytes L1, quadratic, L2, and cubic. That's the 3 layers, right? We then put in the 3D ship controller, which I showed you earlier. That was a JSX module. We put in the station interior, which again was another JSX module. All of the JSX modules are actually given out in a little folder. So you can see here's the JSX module and there is the HTML demo. I give them both in the prompt when we adapt from JSX to TSX. The weapons system, again, that's another JSX. Warp tunnel, another JSX. Skybox improvements, that's just me saying, hey, the skybox is terrible. The warp tunnel has a better one. We can use that one. So he did that. We do a code review at stage 7 just to stop things getting ratty. So Claude Code has a good code review built in. So I go ahead and use that one. We always do a incomplete steps after, so assess after, so like a post-plan, post-game review. And then we can usually get any loose ends. So sometimes he'll say, there's nothing else to do, we did it all. But sometimes he'll say, there's actually a couple of non-blocking deferred things that we didn't do yet. And so we can obviously approach that. Then we have the Galaxy to Grain, as I said, that's just a JSX. The auto jump navigation system, the explosions plan using the explosions JSX, which is again what we've done before. The GLB editor for the for the sockets, you know, to mount our particle effects, because I want to have thrusters when the ship turns and stuff. And then low poly editor plan, right? low poly editor plan, that's the ships, and then that gives us proper 3D models. So once you have real ships, combat, mining, an infinite galaxy, trading, once you've got it all, there it is, the game's done. But then I add the multiplayer last because we built it for multiplayer in the first place. So it'll be another exactly like the tanks game. I've got a skill which is space-time multiplayer skill. It will adapt your game for space-time multiplayer. So it's like it's actually trivial. Obviously, there's always some debugging. Propel says, are you saying you can chat with it to create the game? Well, I wouldn't say we're really chatting with it. I'm really just telling him what to do. But to a certain extent, he does write his own plans. So I'm using a dynamic adaptive approach. I believe that he already knows what to do. And so the plan is a hologram. All I have to do is project it or have him project the shape I want. And then he can make that. And this has been proven to be true. So like if you were to look at, you know, the prompts that I'm using here, a good example would be the universal planning prompt, which is we can write these detailed instructions inside a new markdown artifact named task plan. Task plan would be named what the task is, semantic naming, so there is context in even the file name. Using the TINS skill, that's probably my best skill for Claude and over any LLM is the TINS skill. It makes epic plans. What can I say? Look, they get better every time the AI gets better, because it's like a future-proofed system. And I know it's kind of silly to say stuff like that, but it really is. Every time they make the AI better, my planning system gets better, and I didn't change it. It hasn't changed. All steps in code required to complete the implementation, and then as I said, once we've got that TINS plan, I run it with this. We can begin completion of the, whatever the file name you made was, implementation plan. Once all steps are done, assess the code base against the original plan, writing all detected incomplete steps inside a new markdown artifact named stage 1 incomplete steps, which will be presented for user review. And that's the first human point of interface there. That's the first gate. So if I check it here and it's crap, or I don't like whatever, I'll get him to do the incomplete steps, or I'll make him do some of them, or none of them. It's up to me. And that stops him getting squirrely. And then once you've actually got it built and running, you could do something like this. We can start the app with npm run dev, writing detected issues to first startup log.md to be addressed directly as they emerge. Repeat the process and append all surface tasks to the markdown tracking artifact until clean app startup is achieved. So oh yeah, and this one's like improve the plan. Use skill to improve plan. Take plan, use skill, new improved plan. That's what that one is. Yeah? So yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering what this is just an app I made. It's just a cloud clipboard. So I got filled up. I probably use this one about 6 times a day, maybe more. So, you know, I use it for work all the time. TINS is the best. I don't even know. I had no idea how good it was going to be. It's crazy. Crazy how useful that skill is. But yeah, this is where I copy my prompts from anyway. Right, so anyway, like I say, so once you've got all of that, you've basically got, like I said, there's the explosions, you know, like I can't show them because there's no, I can't get to combat. It's too far away. When you're in safe space, there's no combat. That's why I quickly popped out the multiplayer tank game real quick, just to show where that ends up going. But you raise an interesting point, because maybe having a multiplayer game where there's just monsters roaming around and you just got to hit them with a magic spell or something is probably going to be easier to test and iterate on. Because the problem with space games is you've got to actually go there. It's ironic, isn't it? You've got faster than light travel. It takes forever to get anywhere. Isn't that funny? I just think it's funny. It takes forever to get anywhere. I got a faster than light jump drive. I can go anywhere instantly except where I need to go. That takes me like 12 hours to get anywhere in this game. So yeah. But anyway, like I said, the game itself it's like I said, 24 hours, probably less than 24 hours. And we actually have you know, we actually do have the game. Like, yeah, okay, we could make the space bigger. You know, like the sector is really small right now. But you've got gates to all the different systems. The galaxy is navigable. You know what I mean? You can get to anywhere from anywhere in many jumps, which is what this game seems to be all about. Oh my god, the NPC's coming for me. I'm getting out of here. It's got the EVE Online style movement. You know, we can just sort of vector around like this. Is that guy actually chasing me, or is he just on a patrol? I think he's just on a patrol. Oh wait, no, he is chasing me. There's no way. I'm sure I can't shoot here. Oh no, I'm wrong. I can shoot here. Right, let's orbit round him then. Wait, what? Lock to the rookie frigate. Why am I shooting at the station? Uh-oh. This is how your game ends in EVE Online, by the way. Shooting at the station's not a good idea. Alright, well, we're a pirate now, I guess. So we should be shooting at him. Fire missiles! Oh, there we go. So now we're orbiting around him. Alright. Can we... Oh, no. Oh, no! I didn't mean to destroy the station. I'm a pirate now. See, now I'm the bad guy. Damn it. We've got to make our getaway, boys. Get out of there. Get out of there. Run, 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 run. He's still orbiting. So yeah, I call it 95%, where you've got all the things. But it always needs more work. What's this? I'm just firing asteroids. I'm firing rockets at something else now. I don't even know. It's lost the plot. Fernicar's here. Welcome, Fernie. Zanelli is also here. I heard that people were doing that with Elite when it first came out. It didn't have any tutorials, so they didn't know how to use the full frame shift drive. Yeah, that's actually quite funny. There's a mug you can get, and it takes a long time to get the mug. And people used to tell you that if you fly to this one station, you'll get a free Anaconda. And then when you get there, all they have on sale, which is different, is a mug. So, because obviously there is no free Anaconda. I am scared. Hub says, is it possible to train stickmans on Comfy UI? Well, take it from a stick. I am a stickman myself, and you might run into some trouble with that one. But if you've got good reference to train it on, anything is possible to train. Really, I would say that 30 good images is probably all you need, but you will need very good captioning, and it really depends on what it is you're actually trying to train. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're trying to train video, that's different from training images, even though it's similar. It's different. But yeah, you should drop by the Discord and come and ask. I'm sure you'll get some good information. I've done lots of videos on it in the past. If you check my back catalogue, it's all the same. None of the advice has changed. You'd just be doing it with a different model. See, it's all about dataset creation, really. So, anyway, I could talk about that for hours. But that's the end of the show, guys. We've hit time. So I just want to thank you all for hanging out tonight. It's been a lot of fun. We've been through all kinds of crazy shindigs. And who knows what the hell is going to happen over the next 7 days. So I'll look forward to seeing you all next Sunday night at the same time, same place, 8 o'clock GMT. Don't miss, because undoubtedly there'll be all kinds of crazy stuff I'll want to tell you. So again, thanks to Propel Project for joining, and yeah, see you all next week.
Make out that mayor and Too short, too strong, but thanks, Bomba Tony, Mana, Funny, yeah.